Greetings, everyone. This is Queen Elle. I'm back again to wrap up or expand on what I am learning from the cards that jumped out at me. This was when I was going through with blessing my new deck. So, for anyone who's new, hello, welcome. I'm Queen Elle, and I have been drawn to the art of tarot for several years now, but I finally decided to really tap into um, that feeling of being drawn to it and tapping into my intuition to serve that purpose as well, with the hopes that I can learn more as an individual and also to help others to learn more by using tarot cards. So, my first deck is the Universal Waite Tarot deck. And the traditional tarot deck is the original Rider Waite tarot deck. And so I decided for my first deck to be this Universal Waite deck. So in my previous video, I did mention that when I went through the process of blessing my deck, and if you want more information about how I did that, please feel free to visit my previous video. So I'll link that now. Feel free to visit that video to learn more about how I went through the process of blessing my new deck. This was a new deck that I purchased. I did not receive a used deck or purchase a used deck. So these two cards really spoke to me, and I found them quite interesting. And I mentioned it on my last video that when they came to me and I feel spoke to me, I didn't really notice or couldn't really figure out how the two tied together. Um, Although I will say that I've learned from my research that when you're doing, let's say, a 3-card tarot spread, that typically you're pulling cards in the order of past, present, and future. So if we look at it in that sense, this card, which was the first card that I pulled, or actually didn't pull, that jumped out at me, that spoke to me as I was blessing the deck and blessing individual cards, was this card, the Hanged Man. And I mentioned in my last video that it has the number 12 in Roman numerals at the top. And the number 12 is significant to me because I am the 12th zodiac sign, Pisces. So I feel like it was speaking to me personally, but I wasn't sure in what way. So the second card that I feel kind of spoke to me, that one, the Lovers, I expounded on it and what resonated within me in my last video. So you'll have to check that out. But just briefly, at the top of this card, there's the Roman numeral 6. And I said that that is significant because my husband's zodiac sign is Virgo, and that's the 6th zodiac sign. So if we looked at the past, present, future, then we could say that this would represent the past. And at first, earlier today when I spoke about it, I wasn't sure what this meant to me and what I could glean from this one per se. But I will say, just in retrospect now, just thinking more about it, if I'm thinking about the past, present, and future, then I would think that this would possibly, if it, with the 12 at the top, if it's representing me, then it could be synonymous with maybe the life that I was living in the past. And I wasn't living a poor life, but I might have felt poorly in my spirit. And there will be some future videos on some of the things that I've gone through in my life that have affected me and ultimately shaped who I am as a woman today. And this presently, thinking about the Lovers, and I said that it reminds me of me and my husband. Now, I am going to film a video on doing an interview spread for my deck because I truly want to do an interview spread. I want to learn what the deck has to say to me and what I can get from the deck. So I am actually going to do that. But first, briefly, I want to shuffle this deck. So as I mentioned in my previous videos, I love how there are stars on the back of this deck, and I just love stars. So I made sure that all of my cards were right side up. There are some people, some tarot readers who they read reversals of cards, and from what I have read in my research, and so in case you're new to my channel, I have not gone through all of my cards yet because I want to go through every card individually and write down what I feel the card is saying to me and how I feel it's speaking to me. And I'm going to do that throughout the course of the next week. And if there are any cards that stand out significantly to me, either positively or negatively, I'm going to document that via video as well so that I can share that with you. So I'm going to do that and journal that. And I feel that that's important. And what's even more important is for me not to have my perspective or my opinion skewed or swayed in any way by reading a description of what someone else feels the card should represent. So sometimes I will say until I actually get through all of the cards, it may or may not come across as a bit unsure because I'm so new to this. And that's why I love taking you all along with me on this journey because I feel like we're all in this together. Hopefully, there will either be some people who are also new to this who can learn from what I'm doing, or possibly more experienced or seasoned tarot readers that can impart some type of knowledge or wisdom to me. So I welcome that as well. But without further ado, for this video, I wanted to I was saying in my last video that I felt like I could um, I could feel that I would benefit from a third card to this would not be the traditional 3 card spread. Typically you're shuffling multiple times, however many as it feels right for you, and then you're doing as you're thinking of the question that you have either for personally for the deck or a question that your client or querent has with regard to the deck, and then you're flipping the 3 cards for past, present, and future. Well, this is very non-traditional because these 2 cards jumped out at me as I was blessing my deck earlier today, and I would like to shuffle, and pull one more card to go with this. So it will be a 3 card spread. It's all based, and subject to your own interpretation. That's what I love about this. I trust my intuition, and so I'm going for it. So, as I said, I feel like, and maybe the third card may really surprise me. I feel like the Hanged Man, I feel like that is representative of my past. I feel like this card, the Lovers, that jumped out this morning, that this is representative of my present. And I'm super excited to find out what card will be representative of my future. So I'm going to shuffle the cards. Now, I have little hands. It's not really apparent here, but I do have little hands. So I'm going to do my best. This is actually my first time shuffling this deck, so this is very exciting. Now let me stop talking for this moment and just focus on what I want to get from this pool. So what are these cards saying to me? What do you want me to know from these cards? What do you want me to learn from these cards? What does my future have to do with these 2 cards in particular? What are you telling me with these cards? What do you want me to know from these cards? Why did you have me pull these cards earlier? Where are we going? where are we going? Okay. And so, just show you on here, just pulling through the cards some more, keeping them the same direction. Oh, that's what I touched on. So from what I've read, and this is kind of self-explanatory, the reversal of a card, or when a card is inverted or turned upside down, that there are some tarot readers that they will read the reversal, and it's not necessarily meaning the opposite or antithesis of what the right side up card means, but it can mean that that's an area of opportunity for whomever the card spread is for. It can mean that, and while I'm looking down, I'm just looking at what I'm doing. It can mean that um, it's an area of weakness, or that there's an area of something weakening, depending on what the card is. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that the opposite of what the card represents typically is true. So, as a new tarot reader, I mean, I definitely understand that. That made perfect sense to me when I read about it. But for now, I would like to start with my cards all right side up. And as I gain some momentum and really come into my own, then I would like to read some inverted cards when they come up. I feel like they come up like that for a reason, and especially if I'm shuffling them right side up, and then somehow a card ends up inverted, either because I inadvertently left one in there that was upside down, or because by chance it was upside down. I mean, all of this, there's a reason for everything. I don't believe in consequences. I mean, I believe in consequences. I don't believe in coincidences. Okay, so anyway, this third card, so I'm ready for it. I feel strongly about how I have shuffled the deck. Because the deck is so new, I probably would not shuffle this much in the future. But because this is a brand new deck, and as I was going through the deck and making sure that all the cards were right side up, now mind you, I had never seen all of these cards before, because, and just by design, I just want to be able to be authentic when I'm looking at the cards for the first time, and gathering my thoughts and my intuition about them. So I'm going through them so heavily right now just because I really just want to, the cards are mainly in order in a lot of ways. A lot of the numbers I noticed were in order. So I just want to make sure that I'm giving a full shuffle. And also because my hands are so small. So I just want to make sure I'm doing it justice. Okay. So now I'm just going to cut the deck 3 times. One, there's 2, so actually twice, making 3 piles. And then I will pick it back up. Now, let me shuffle this one more time. So this may seem odd what I'm doing. So something that I just read about is, one, the need to deal cards from your left hand. And I'm left-handed, so that's perfect for me. I was going to do that anyway, unless all signs pointed to not using your left hand. So I'm so glad about that. It comes so naturally to me. But what I've read is, because of how we know that the right side of our brain is, scientists have said that it is representative of our creative side and intuitiveness. So using the left hand is supposed to be symbolic of using that side of your brain. And from what I've read, it says that tradition shows that when you're making 3 piles, that you make them from the left. So 1, 2, cutting that way. And what I just did actually, just because it's my left hand and it comes naturally, I cut to the from right to left. So I just wanted to do a quick shuffle again, just um, to make sure that I'm doing it in an authentic manner. Something else that I've learned though is that it's really to each his own. So there's no right or wrong way to do this. So I'm glad about that too, because if you know anything about the Pisces zodiac sign, we are truly nonconformists. So that works for me. So anyway, what I just did is I cut the deck 1, 2, and then I went back and picked it up from left to right. 1, 2. So now I have the whole deck. And now I will ask the question one more time. I know I asked several when I was shuffling, but it was basically conveying the same thought. So now I will pull the third card. Let me just think. So, what do you want me to get from these other two cards? What are you trying to tell me? Okay, so this card is, and I've learned that there are suits now. Mind you, I have not, I've done extensive research about tarot, but I have not read about descriptions of the cards because, again, I don't want anything. I feel like it's almost a spoiler. And I'm trying to give myself a mental, like figurative spoiler alert that I don't want anything to just throw me off. And that has happened. I've stumbled upon some information where I'm like, oh, so, and I'll mention what that was, but it was like once you see something, you can't unsee it. So, anyway, this is the card. So, from what I've gathered from my research, this, seeing these swords, I believe this, so the Roman numeral at the top is the Roman numeral 6, and this is the 6 of swords, and there's a swords suit. So there are suits in tarot cards like playing cards, and one of the suits is swords. There are pentacles, there are cups, there are swords, and the last one is lost on me right now. Again, because I purposely have not read any descriptions of the cards. Now, I will read descriptions of the cards after, because I want to know what the general consensus and vibe is, but I'll do that after I go through all of the cards myself and make notes of what stands out to me and resonates with me for those cards. Until I do that, I will not read any descriptions on the cards. That's just my personal preference. I just want my own thoughts to be authentic, and even when I think that I have my own opinion, you can't help but to still be allowing the opinion of others to weigh in on your own thoughts. And I don't want to muddy the waters at all, if that makes sense. So anyway, this is the Roman numeral 6. Now, the interesting thing is we're back to 6 again. So we were at a 6 for the card that I am feeling represents my present. And I mentioned how the 6 is my husband's zodiac sign because he's a Virgo. So, and that's just my interpretation of it. So again, this is 6 again. And so if I follow along that same thread, then this would be the Virgo still. And so if this is representing the future, I see the 6 swords. I see this man. So the interesting thing is everyone's back is facing me. Not quite sure why, but everyone's back is facing me, almost as if they're turning away from me. And they're in a body of water, and the man is um, moving the boat along, steering the boat with his stick. There are the 6 swords standing up, and then there are 2 other individuals um, kind of covered and just sitting there on the boat. So, I mean, we could assume that that's the man's partner and their small child. And then in the distance, which is, so the 2 of them are looking downward, which is very interesting. They're not looking out at the water, at the scenery. They're not just gazing off into the horizon. They are looking downward, and um, and also the partner or other adult who's sitting there is covered completely. Their head, everything is completely covered. And in the distance, where it looks like the man is kind of looking out into the distance, but in the distance, I see what looks to be some trees and some hills, like maybe they are moving. They don't necessarily look like they're moving in that direction because the boat is facing this way. They're and the trees and the land looks like it's that way. I will say, let's see, the sky looks cloudy. It's overcast. I'm not sure if you can see that. It's slightly gray at the top, so it seems gloomy. And that does not give me a good feeling. I will say that it looks like because their backs are to me, that they're moving away from something. And maybe they're moving away from what doesn't serve them. The six swords, I'm not sure what the swords represent. And again, I have not read about any of this, and it's on purpose. So I am going to take note of these cards just so that I'm going to take note of what I'm taking away from this and why the three of them, there's some type of significance for the three cards to be pulled together, and not necessarily together, but for the same purpose. And we'll just see. Maybe once I have gone through all the cards and then I come back and actually look to see what the swords mean, maybe it will make more sense to me and it'll be like an aha light bulb moment. Also, I do plan, as I see other cards in that same suit, then it might make sense of what the sword suit symbolizes. So I look forward to that as well. So I didn't want to make this so long. I apologize, it's over 20 minutes. I can get long winded sometimes. I'm really just trying to think out loud at this point. So, like I said, we will double back on this as I learn more about it and we'll see what this all means. So I'm really excited about that. Again, I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for visiting my channel and viewing my videos. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey that I'm extremely excited about. And also, just want to send many blessings to all of you. So take care. Have a great afternoon. I am signing off. This has been Queen Elle. Please join me on Instagram at Queen Elle 79. Thanks again. Be blessed.